The inauguration of the Thomas Sankara Mausoleum. The president of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traore, was represented by Prime Minister Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo. The latter was joined by the prime ministers of Senegal, Ousmane Sonko, and Chad, Alamaye Halina. Political figures were also present. These included the former Minister of Security and former mayor of Ouagadougou, Simon Compaoré, the Sankara family's lawyer, Benewende Sankara, and former Prime Minister Apollinaire Kielem of Tambela. The arrival of Pan-African political activist and influencer Nathalie Yamb and her team has sparked curiosity. Prior to this ceremony, she was elevated to the rank of Knight of the Order of the Stallion. At 3:51 p.m., the flags of the Alliance of Sahel States, ESA, and partner countries flew over the scene. It was the perfect moment. Sankara was reportedly hit by the murderous bullets at that precise hour to salute the memory of Thomas Sankara with a 21-gun salute. This mausoleum, according to its designers, puts an end to a long journey marked by many twists and turns. Burial in the Dagnoan cemetery, desecration of the tombs, exhumation of the remains. Built by Francis Carré of Burkina Faso and financed by the Burkinabe government, this mausoleum, designed in the shape of an eye, is composed of large circular segments over 7 meters high, a monumental ramp, and descending steps, representing the 13 martyrs lying in wait. The outer shell is made of carved laterite blocks. Who is Ibrahim Sankara? After renaming his country to Burkina Faso, here's Thomas Sankara's accomplishments. Only 4 years in power, 1983 to 87. Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, 21st December 1949, 15th October 1987, was a Burkinabe military captain, Marxist revolutionary, Pan-Africanist theorist, and president of Burkina Faso from 1983 to 1987. Viewed by supporters as a charismatic and iconic figure of revolution, he is commonly referred to as Africa's Che Guevara. He vaccinated 2.5 million children against meningitis, yellow fever, and measles in a matter of weeks. He initiated a nationwide literacy campaign, increasing the literacy rate from 13% in 1983 to 73% in 1987. He planted over 10 million trees to prevent desertification. He built roads and a railway to tie the nation together without foreign aid. He appointed females to high governmental positions, encouraged them to work, recruited them into the military, and granted pregnancy leave during education. He outlawed female genital mutilation, forced marriages and polygamy in support of women's rights. He sold off the government fleet of Mercedes cars and made the Renault 5, the cheapest car sold in Burkina Faso at that time, the official service car of the ministers. He reduced the salaries of all public servants, including his own, and forbade the use of government chauffeurs and first-class airline tickets. Sankara seized power in a 1983 popularly supported coup at the age of 33 with the goal of eliminating corruption and the dominance of the former French colonial power. He immediately launched one of the most ambitious programs for social and economic change ever attempted on the African continent. To symbolize this new autonomy and rebirth, he renamed the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, Land of Upright Man. His foreign policies were centered on anti-imperialism, with his government eschewing all foreign aid, pushing for odious debt reduction, nationalizing all land and mineral wealth, and averting the power and influence of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and World Bank. On October 15, 1987, Sankara was killed by an armed group with 12 other officials in a coup d'etat organized by his former colleague Blaise Compaoré. Deterioration in relations with neighboring countries was one of the reasons given, with Compaoré stating that Sankara jeopardized foreign relations with former colonial power France and neighboring Ivory Coast. Prince Johnson, a former Liberian warlord allied to Charles Taylor, told Liberia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, that it was engineered by Charles Taylor. After the coup, and although Sankara was known to be dead, some CDRs mounted an armed resistance to the army for several days. Sankara's body was dismembered, and he was quickly buried in an unmarked grave, while his widow Mariam and 2 children fled the nation. Compaoré immediately reversed the nationalizations, overturned nearly all of Sankara's policies, rejoined the International Monetary Fund and World Bank to bring in desperately needed funds to restore the shattered economy, and ultimately spurned most of Sankara's legacy. Compaore's dictatorship remained in power for 27 years until overthrown by popular protests in 2014.